watching WHSV News 3. 11 minutes of nonstop news and weather starts right now.
It sounded like a cannon blast, but it felt so strong it literally almost blew my hat off, and there were some really bad injuries.
3 people are dead and security is beefed up tonight after the Boston bombings. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for staying up with us tonight. I'm Dion Guillory.
And I'm Allison Brunner. We are following that breaking news tonight. Lots of information just coming into our newsroom.
And we just found out the FBI is taking over the investigation. Boston police say at least 3 people are dead. One of them is an 8-year-old boy. Hospitals report they are treating at least 143 people, 15 in critical condition, the injuries ranging from cuts and bruises to amputations.
At this hour, there's still no suspect in custody. Investigators are in Boston tonight to help find the person or persons responsible for these bombings.
And minutes ago, American Muslims coming out condemning the bombings. Marcy Gonzalez is live in Boston tonight to kick off our team coverage. Marcy.
Investigators believe it was 2 small homemade bombs that killed 3 people, including an 8-year-old boy, and injured more than 130 others. Security here is heightened tonight as investigators still do not have a suspect. The first explosion went off near the finish line of the Boston Marathon 4 hours into the race.
Something just blew up.
Seconds later, another explosion nearby.
I literally saw the garbage barrel explode. And I saw the flash, the fire, the smoke, and I just ran as fast as I could.
Complete chaos followed. Smoke filled the air, debris and blood covered the streets with injured people everywhere. Those who could ran for cover.
This cowardly act will not be taken in stride. We will turn every rock over to find the people who are responsible for this.
Police and emergency crews scrambled to attend to the wounded, many transported from the scene in wheelchairs and on stretchers.
I saw one guy with his legs gone at the knees, some ankles and feet missing, shrapnel wounds on people on the sides of the head.
Federal, state, and local officials joining forces to find out who is responsible for this carnage.
It is a criminal investigation that has a potential terrorist investigation.
The Boston Marathon is one of the premier races in the country. Security is now being ramped up even more throughout the city, and the governor is asking the public to be on alert.
We're also asking that everyone be on a state of heightened vigilance. That is really required of everyone.
And we're told a person of interest is being questioned here in Boston tonight. That person is not considered a suspect at this point, and the FBI is now leading this investigation. We're live in Boston. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News. Now back to you.
All right, thanks, Marcy. Many of the nation's major cities are on high alert following the Boston bombings.
The Secret Service says it has just expanded its security perimeter around the White House. A Secret Service spokesman says the perimeter was expanded out of an abundance of caution. He explains that this move is not unusual. The D.C. Metro Police Department is also on heightened security tonight. New York is also beefing up security. The NYPD says it stepped up security at hotels and other prominent locations throughout that city. More police were dispatched to train stations as well. Many people with family in Boston are doing all they can to find their loved ones.
Yes, and it's a very scary situation, and technology is helping with that. Google has relaunched its person finder. Basically what you do is you just type a person's name in and it can tell you the whereabouts of them, where they are, and what the condition they may be in. And that's what helped a Stanton woman find her family members. She's relieved tonight to know that they are in very good shape tonight.
Very convenient thing Google's offering. Well, they were at the Boston Marathon, that family that Stephanie talked to. Tonight, WHSC's Stephanie Escobar has that part of the story. She continues our team coverage.
Allison, this woman was still very emotional when I talked to her. She had already talked to her family on the phone, but she says for hours she thought of the worst.
Sherry Mayo is keeping in touch with her family in Massachusetts.
All right. I love you. You take care of yourself.
They were at the Boston Marathon when a bomb went off close to the finish line. Her nephew was half a mile from the explosion.
Never in a million years would I think something like this would happen. I mean, it's so senseless.
She knows now her family is safe, but she couldn't reach them after it happened.
The not knowing, that couple of hours of not knowing if they were safe or not, was just, it's horrible. It's a horrible feeling.
That's why she looked up her nephew on Google Finder to check if he was alive.
I feel good about them, but the whole situation still bothers me because I know there was a lot of people out there that got hurt and killed.
She's from Massachusetts, and the marathon is part of a family tradition.
We used to watch them as kids, and then when I lived in Kenmore Square, I used to watch them. And now my niece and my nephew and a lot of the family runs.
She missed the marathon this year, but she wishes she could be there for her family during this tough time.
All I want to do is just give them a big hug right now. That's all I want to do.
But she says she's here for them even if she's miles away.
They know I'm thinking about them. I've talked to them. I'm just glad they're safe. It's a horrible feeling.
Mayo tells me her nephew actually didn't finish the race, and her family is still shaken up about this situation. Some of them were with small children when it happened. I tried to talk to them, but we're still in shock. In the newsroom, Stephanie Escobar, WHSV.
We are glad they're okay tonight. And the Boston Marathon is one of the most prestigious marathons in the world.
Yes, and Jack Broadus has run the marathon several times, 3 to be exact. He joins us now to give us a little insight on the race itself. And you have friends who were running there this year.
Yeah, I've had I know of at least 3 or 4 that ran this year, and did check with them. And one, as a matter of fact, had finished about 5 minutes after the bomb had gone off. So, but it's safe, and we're happy for that.
Yeah, that's always good news. Now, when you found out what happened, being someone who has run those streets before, what was the first thing you thought?
Wow, of course, you always think about the victims, and you know, our prayers and thoughts go out for them. But the way the marathon is designed coming into the finish, when you saw all those barriers, it's to keep all the people off the streets as you come in, and you go, as times when the marathon is at the height, you've got people 10 to 12 deep on that street. So you kind of worry that it could have been worse than what you saw, but it was pretty horrific, even with the race at that point, at time of the race.
And Jack, just give us an idea of just how massive this marathon really is.
Wow, well, that's when you start in Hopkinton, you've got people lined all the way up 26 miles, all the way into Boston. Sometimes it's 500,000 to 1 million people lined that whole stretch all the way to Boston. It's really massive, and the support is fantastic. That I can't believe how well it's run, but it's just a tremendous amount of people that support that race.
All right, Jack brought us here. He's run the Boston Marathon 3 times. Thank you. I know it's a late night, but thank you very much,
so much
for coming in tonight.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And we continue our breaking news coverage of the Boston bombings, hitting close to home for us.
Yes, reporter Lita Pappas, one of our own, was near the marathon when the explosions happened, and she explains the chaos on the ground.
2 words to describe this right now: complete chaos. Right now I'm in the south end of Boston, and just before the explosions happened, I was eating lunch actually 10 feet away from the finish line, taking pictures with some of my family and friends just here from the Boston area, home on vacation. And a couple hours later, we just moved a few blocks down. We were on Newbury Street in a friend's apartment, and a man came into the apartment running in, screaming, saying that we had to evacuate. Police were all over the area around Newbury and Boylston Street, just blocks away from where that explosion happened. All I can say right now is people were crying in the streets. Marathon runners didn't really know where to go, where to find their family. It's devastating because the Boston Marathon is one of the biggest events in this city that people look forward to. Thousands of people were waiting to see people cross the finish line, and police had to tell the runners to stop when these explosions happened. Right now, we knew that a couple explosions happened, but we've been hearing reports on the streets that multiple more explosions have happened around the city. Right now, it's been difficult to get back to where you want to go because roads have been blocked off for the marathon, as well as multiple ambulances and police cars all over the city. Just complete chaos, like I said before. It's really just a devastating day for the city of Boston.
And you can count on WHSV for continuing coverage of the explosions of the Boston Marathon. Our Daybreak team will have new information on this breaking news story starting at 5 a.m. Then Good Morning America picks it up at 7.
Our hour-by-hour forecast lets you know when inconvenient weather is ahead and what it means for your plans. WHSV's First Alert Storm Team.
Well, very quiet night weather-wise across the area. Just a few clouds in place. We are hanging on to these cloudy skies for tonight. Even some areas of fog. What we're watching is this other frontal boundary that is over the Ohio Valley right now. That's going to move a little closer to our area for tomorrow very slowly and stay in place through midweek. So keep the umbrella handy for the next couple of days. Our temperature outside still 56 degrees, so not too far off from our high temperature for today, but in fact a pretty mild night. Notice our humidity up to 83%. So with that, yes, we are looking for that development of fog. Also some light winds for tonight, and we already have some foggy areas in parts of southern Augusta County and southern Highland County. So be careful with the driving overnight tonight or very early tomorrow morning. Do think the fog is going to be a bit stubborn to mix out for tomorrow. Area temperatures right now mid 50s for most of us, 53 in Sparkling Springs, Fishersville, 55 for Stanton. So again, temperatures not falling too much farther for tonight, and after midnight I do think we could see maybe a light isolated shower or a few sprinkles. Likely not this much activity, but into tomorrow morning still another chance for some light isolated spotty showers. Not everyone will see this. Most of the area will stay dry, but there's a slight chance we could see that. Again, if you don't see it, well, you could also see some fog for tomorrow. As we head into the afternoon, do think we'll see a few breaks in the clouds, and that will lead to a little sunshine. Notice our winds still coming in out of the south, helping to warm us up a bit more for tomorrow. So that's going to lead to a warmer day. And then that frontal system will move closer to the area, setting off another round of some light showers by tomorrow evening. Doesn't cross the area. It stays just to our north. And with that, we are going to see a couple chances for some rain, even some storms almost through the end of the week. Temperatures tonight dropping around 50 for the highlands, 53 in the valley with that patchy fog and maybe a light shower, maybe some sprinkles at best. By tomorrow morning, a light shower is still possible. We'll see those breaks in the clouds, especially by lunchtime, but that fog could be a little stubborn to mix out for tomorrow. Temperature is already in the low 60s by lunchtime, so it will be a warmer afternoon. Daytime highs about 10 degrees warmer than where we were today, so around 70 for the highlands, 71 for the valley tomorrow. I do think some areas might even push that mid-70s mark, so it will be somewhat of a more mild afternoon for tomorrow. Slight chance of an isolated shower in the morning, then again in the evening, and a bit of a breezy day as well. Take a look as we head into the next 7 days. Temperatures do stay warm right through the middle of the week, but again, better chance to see a couple scattered thunderstorms as we head into Wednesday. Isolated showers on Thursday, but notice our temperature near 80 degrees. Then as we head into Friday, that front finally starts to move through the area. With that, we'll see some showers and storms kicking off Friday evening and into the overnight. We'll have to keep our eyes on that, but it does look to clear out by Saturday morning, which means sunshine and some cooler temperatures for the weekend, but a great spring forecast.
Yes, starting to actually look like spring here in the valley.
Absolutely. It doesn't look like a washout any day. Just keep the umbrella handy or be prepared to run.
Great. Thank you, Aubrey. Well, our coverage of the Boston bombings is far from over. Hear from lawmakers about the attack and details on the vote in Washington being delayed.
And we go in depth tonight on this day, the significance it could have to past bombings. Our breaking news coverage of the Boston bombings goes in depth tonight. This day may have a connection to past bombings.
We are joined now with JMU Professor Ron Rabb with the Institute for Infrastructure and Information. First off, Ron, just explain to us and our viewers what today is, why it's significant.
Yes, go back to 1995, April 19th, Timothy McVeigh, Oklahoma City bombing. He specifically picked that date because it is Patriots Day. Today in Boston, this Monday was Patriots Day for the marathon, and school children were off. So, you know, that could be significant. Also, April 15th, Tax Day. There's also similarities to this and the Olympic Park bombing occurred in Atlanta in 1996. Outdoor event, sporting type setting.
Yeah. And you mentioned the Oklahoma City bombing. That anniversary is actually this Friday.
Right. It actually did occur on Patriots Day, April 19th, 1995.
One other thing that, you know, not in addition to the bombings, the response by the first responders. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, for an event like that, there was planning probably almost a year ago, I would say, where they set up a what we call an incident command kind of structure or system for planning such an event like this. And within that, you saw security, medical, safety, all in place for this. So, they were prepared in such a way that they did have the medical there, obviously, because it was the end of the race. They had plenty of medical providers there. With an event like this, with that many people there, they actually had the National Guard Civil Support Team from Massachusetts there. They were present. So if you noticed people in military uniform, that's why they were there. They tend to be at events like this for security reasons.
Yeah. All right. Ron Rabb, JMU professor, thank you for coming in. I know it's a late night, but thank you for spending a little time with us, giving us a little more insight into this
helped break
big
it
story.
down.
No problem. I
Thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much.
Thank you.
Well, tonight I've confirmed there were 5 James Madison University students and 1 faculty member at the Boston Marathon at the time of the explosion. JMU spokesman Don Agel tells me they are all safe, though, tonight. Here's the latest information from Agel. He confirmed with me the students in Boston are athletic training majors. The faculty member involved teaches athletic training. All 6 of them were volunteering with the Marathon medical team. And tonight, their location of where they were when that explosion happened is, though, still being investigated. As more information does become available, we will update you.
New at 11, the U.S. House holds a moment of silence for the victims of the bombing attacks at the Boston Marathon. And we're also hearing from area lawmakers tonight. Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell released this statement that reads in part, quote, "When we face tragedy, we respond with unity, courage, and resilience. Virginia stands ready to help our friends in Massachusetts in any way possible." West Virginia Governor Earl Ray Tomblin released this statement. "Our thoughts and prayers are with those affected by today's tragic events in Boston. No specific threats to West Virginia have been identified at this time." And West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin sent this statement. "It appears this was a senseless act of violence aimed at innocent people. We cannot allow cowardice to go unchallenged. We will not allow it to go unpunished."
Tonight, a vote on Senator Manchin's bipartisan gun bill has been pushed back until the end of the week. The measure could expand background checks for all firearms sales. It currently does not have the 60 votes needed to overcome GOP opposition. Critics argue background checks do little to prevent gun violence. New information tonight on 2 high-profile cases in our area. We'll break down when the trials are expected to start.
But first, frustration over a tax hike to raise money for schools. New at 11, Augusta County neighbors could see a 5-cent tax increase on real estate. That money would help fund schools and county expenses.
And that's why Supervisor David Croft is listening to neighbors' concerns tonight. Augusta County is short $250,000 for the next budget, and the school board is asking the county for $2.5 million. Of the money would go to the county and half to the schools. This would cover teachers' raises, technology, and would pay full coverage of health care for some employees.
I can feel for them, but I'm a retired person on a fixed income, okay? And no one's ever paid my insurance.
If the tax increase doesn't go through, the workers would have to pay for half of health insurance. The Board of Supervisors will have a public hearing at 7 on Wednesday evening. Waynesboro police arrest 3 people on drug charges after a drug sting. It happened in the 900 block of North Forest Avenue. Police say 29-year-old Amy Speck had meth, hundreds of used syringes, and other items used for drugs. Officers also arrested Matthew Fisher and Gary Maurer, who you all see there. Those 2 were wanted in other areas. All 3 are in jail tonight.
We have new details tonight in 2 high-profile court cases in the area. One of the trials starts tomorrow morning. We're talking about the case against Rudy Dean. The Commonwealth's attorney wants to throw out evidence that include pills found in the victim's car. She's also asking to ban buttons, shirts, or signs supporting either side, and a media blackout for jury members. And a Harrisonburg murder suspect will be on trial twice. Dallas Chaplin's first trial will be for first-degree murder. His second will be for 2 additional charges. Police say Chaplin killed Ben Gressel back in December. Chaplin's first trial is scheduled for September. And we'll be right back with sports. And you can count on WHSV for continuing coverage of the explosions at the Boston Marathon. Our Daybreak team will have new information on this breaking news story starting at 5 a.m. and then Good Morning America picks it up at 7.